To assemble the left animal barrier gate, start with part 2 and insert part 5 spacer sleeve on top. Then follow up with part 3, and then finally put on your joint cap to finish that joint. Now you can insert this whole joint on top of one of your round tubes, part number 20. Next, take part 7 and insert it onto the round tube, and make sure that it is in the same orientation as your connector up here. This will allow your gate to be flat and even. So insert part 7 onto the end of this pole and slide it up about 6 inches onto the pole. This will act as your bottom gate hinge. Next, take 2 of the longer square tubes, part 18, and insert them into the square opening on your top and bottom joint connectors. Insert them until you feel them hit the back of the joint. Finally, take the shorter square tube, part 17, and 2 L connectors, part 9, and connect them together. Have part 9 face the same way on both ends, and then you can insert this whole tube piece onto the end of your frame. For your right gate, start with part 2 T connector and insert onto it the gate hinge part 4. And slide this all the way to the bottom of the T connector. Now take part 5, spacer sleeve, insert it on top of that, and then finally cap it off with the joint cap, part 13. Now insert this whole joint on top of the short round poles, part 20. Now take part 6, the bottom right door hinge connector, and slide that onto the bottom of the round tube. And once again, slide this on about 6 inches up to the pole, and then put part 8, the spacer sleeve, on top of this. And slide this on until it meets with your bottom hinge connector. Make sure that the orientation of this hinge connector is the same way as your top gate connector, and this will again line up that right gate. Take 2 long square tubes, part 18, and insert these into the square openings of your bottom and top hinge. Now take the shorter square metal tube, part 17, and insert onto it part number 10. This will usually come already connected in your kit, but if it doesn't, just slide it on. And then connect 2 L connectors, part 9, onto either end of this tube in the opposite direction of your gate latch. And then insert these L connectors into your existing right gate frame. With the gates of both your left and right frame built, it's now time to insert these on top of your gate timbers. Just start with the round metal tube and insert that until it hits the bottom of your stacking stake. And then repeat this again for your right gate frame. Take 2 of your timber to gate latches and screw them on with a power drill onto either side of the top gate timber. This will allow you to have an animal barrier gate that swings with your boards. Now take your metal gate braces and fasten them in between the boards with a power drill and the screws provided. When you're positioning your gate brace, make sure that the screw holes don't fall over the edge of the board where they meet. For a one-level animal barrier, take 8 of your small round poles, part 20, and insert them into the top of the adapter cap on each of your outer perimeter joints. And insert them until they hit the bottom of that stacking stake. Take 8 of your L connectors and 8 of your T connectors and combine them to make a two-way joint. And then insert each one of these joints onto your round poles that you just inserted. When inserting them, make sure that the T connector part goes on first, and you'll tell because there is an arrow pointing downwards. So that downward arrow should be the bottom joint that you're connecting onto that pole. Now take 5 of your 4-foot round poles, part 19, and insert them above each of the 4-foot timbers, and then take 4 of your 2-foot round poles, part 20, and insert them over your 2-foot sections. Now take your 2-foot animal barrier netting pieces and attach them to your frame using the zip ties provided. In this section, it's helpful to have a second person to hold out your animal barrier netting for you. Now take your 12-foot netting piece and connect it starting at this point, going all the way until the midsection of that 4-foot pole in the back, and then take your second 12-foot netting piece and bring that all the way around to the opposite corner. You can choose to staple in the excess netting that overdrapes onto the boards with a staple gun, or trim it off with a pair of scissors. The assembly for a 2-level animal barrier is identical to a 1-level. The only difference is when you're installing the left and right gate, you'll put a spacer on top of the existing animal barrier joint, and this way your 2 gates will be leveled on your first and second level. So you'll start by taking off the joint cap on top of each one of these poles, and then you'll take your gate, insert part 22 onto the end of it, and then insert this into the joint, and then you'll repeat this again for the left gate. Once you've installed all levels of your animal barrier, the last step is to just fill this up with soil and start planting. If you have any questions on this instructional video, please email us at support@frameitall.com.